it's cold. Yeah. Did you have a shower? Looks like it. You're pretty clean. Yeah, you're pretty clean, buddy.
What would you think if you saw a giant dog looking in through the bedroom window? Because that's exactly what Brody did. But this wasn't just a curious dog. It was the silent cry of a soul that had lost half its heart. It all began one morning when Brody found himself at Sally's open door. When Sally opened the door, there stood a huge dog, big-pawed and furry like a ball. The moment their eyes met, something happened between them. Brody sat down and looked at her with that unique gaze. Sally smiled without saying a word. Words weren't needed. From that day on, every morning at 8 o'clock, a shadow began to appear at Sally's door. Brody, a unique dog with a newspaper in his mouth and his tail wagging excitedly. Sally would say, "Hello, Brody. Are you bringing me the newspaper?" Brody became a gentle giant. He constantly drooled, but he had such a compassionate heart that no one minded his drool. He would lie down at Sally's feet in front of the television, warming the old woman's legs with his warm breath. They would watch the weather program together. Sally would offer him meat or dog food. Brody wasn't interested in food. But bread, he would only eat those pieces of bread from Sally's hand. As Sally tossed the bread pieces into the air, she would say, "You're such a good boy." Brody would leap like a graceful ballet dancer with his huge body, catch them in midair, and Sally would laugh. Brody would walk beside her when she went to church. While Sally watered the tomatoes in the garden, he would carefully navigate between the plants with his huge paws. Every day for 3 years, without fail. Have you ever had that kind of bond with a dog? The kind where you don't need words to understand each other. But one day, the door didn't open. Sally had started to struggle and had to move into a nursing home. Brody still came every morning. He knocked on the door, looked in through the window. Silence. He sat at the doorstep for hours. He waited with the newspaper in his mouth. He never gave that newspaper to anyone. There were no more laughs, no more hands, no more pieces of bread. His nose took on a thoughtful look. The light in his eyes, that excitement faded. We saw it every evening when he returned home. It wasn't just dog longing, it was real pain. If you've ever missed someone like that, you understand Brody. Now, we take Brody to the car once a week. He already knows when we say, "Here we are." As soon as he enters the nursing home, he recognizes the corridors and goes to Sally's room. When the door opens, Sally says, "Hello, big guy." Her voice trembles. And then, that moment. That magical moment. Brody slowly enters, goes straight to Sally's feet, and rests his head on her knees. Sally's hands are no longer strong, so she uses her foot. With her trembling foot, she strokes that soft fur. "Happy birthday, dear Brody," she whispers. Brody lifts his head. His eyes lock with Sally's. He doesn't wag his tail. He just looks, and a tear rolls down Sally's cheek. "You never forgot me, did you?" she says. Brody whimpers softly, rests his head on her lap again. The room falls silent. A silence filled with memories, with trust, with warmth. They could stay like that forever. Even if Brody could speak, he would probably remain silent. Because some bonds are beyond words. Right now, Brody is at the window. He lifts his head at the sound of every car. He waits. And if you have someone like that in your life, never leave them alone. Because waiting like Brody is the hardest thing.